Hi, Lake Hazel Middle School. Today's lesson is on subtracting fractions. We will actually be using a very similar problem to the one that we did in adding fractions, and we will be going through the same three models: drawing a picture, using a number line, and then finally using the standard algorithm. Our problem for today is Jack and Jill ordered 2 medium pizzas, 1 cheese and 1 pepperoni. Jack ate 5/6 of a pizza, while Jill ate 1/2 of a pizza. How much more did Jack eat than Jill? This problem should seem very familiar to you, and in fact we even use the same numbers as we did in our adding fractions video. So we're going to be using the same thing here and just subtracting today. We know that today's problem is a subtraction problem when we read it and it asks how much more. That how much more is one of those key word or key phrases that cues us into the fact that we're subtracting. So we want to know how much more did Jack eat than Jill. Jack ate 5/6 of the pizza. And so because we want to know how much more Jack ate, his number comes first, and then we subtract what Jill ate from that number. We're going to take our 5/6, subtract the 1/2. Just like we did in the picture with our adding, we are going to make a picture for our subtracting as well. Except for this time, we have our subtraction sign in the middle. We're going to break Jack's pizza up into the 6 pieces that he ate, and we'll break Jill's pizza up into the half that she ate. Switch colors here and we can mark off their pieces. So Jack had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of pizza, and Jill had a half of a pizza. I'm going to switch colors again real quick to help illustrate what we're doing. Now, since we want to subtract this half, what we're going to do is we're going to look and see if we can find half over here in Jack's pizza. So we can take this section here away from his pizza. Now we know that half of 6 is 3. So half of a pizza, if we're going to take it away, would be 3 slices. So if we get rid of these 3 slices, what are we going to have left? Since we subtracted them, this no longer exists either. All that's left is right here, this piece and this second piece. So from this picture, we can tell that after you take the half away from Jack's pizza, there are 2 slices remaining that he ate. Our answer then becomes 2/6, since we have 2 remaining out of the 6 total. Now 2/6 is a fraction that has both even numbers in it. Because both numbers are even, I know that I can simplify this fraction and make it smaller. So to do that, I'm going to divide both the numerator and the denominator by the same number. In this case, the largest number that I can divide each of these by is 2. And remember, whatever we do to the top number, we have to do the same exact thing to the bottom number as well. 2 divided by 2 will give us 1. 6 divided by 2 is going to give us 3. So in total, Jack ate 1/3 more of the pizza than Jill ate.
today I'm going to use a number line to solve 5, 6, subtract 1/2. So remember, when we were adding, we have our number line, and I remember that 5, 6 is close to 1 whole unit. So we'll start at 0, and I know that my fraction of 5, 6 should be really close to that 1 whole. So I'll break up from 0 to 1 into 6 pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. And because we're going to be subtracting, I know that 5, 6 take away 1/2, that my solution will be less than 1. So my number line looks good from here. So first, I'll find out where 5, 6 falls on the number line. Let me change colors. And I'm just going to count out 5 pieces of my 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 would be right here on my number line. And instead of adding, we'll be subtracting. So remember that also we know that half of my whole would be 3 units. I'm going to change colors again. So to take away 1/2, we'll count out half of my whole unit. So that takes me to 1, 2, 3, and I'm now halfway to 1. Here is where my 1/2 would fall on my number line. And this is, instead of adding, I'll be taking away. So I want to take away 3 segments from where I left off at. So at this point, 5, 6, I'm going to take away 3 pieces. 1, 2, 3 pieces. And now I'm at 2/6. So my solution of 5, 6 subtract 1/2 would equal 2/6. And I want to simplify and reduce my fraction. So I know that 2/6 reduces down to 1/3 because both 2 and 6 are divisible by 2. Also notice that when we jump back to our number line, I'm going to change colors one more time to show you why the 2/6 and the 1/3 are equivalent fractions. I'm going to break up my whole unit. Notice that when I break it up into 3 pieces, even pieces, that 2/6 point is in the same spot as my 1/3. So 2/6 lands at the same spot of 1/3, which shows that those are equivalent fractions. And we're done.
Okay, we want to look at our algorithm again. Remember that big word algorithm I told you guys about in the addition video? It just is a fancy word for working the problem out using the standard numbers or the standard way that most people do it. And once again, the reason why we're using that word is to get you ready for the SBAC. So if we are subtracting 5, 6 subtract 1/2, what happens if we just subtract our numbers straight across on the numerator and the denominator? Well, 5 minus 1 is going to give us 4. 6 minus 2 is also going to give us 4. Now, 4/4 you should remember is equal to 1, because anytime we have the same number on both the top and the bottom, that is an equivalent fraction to the whole number 1. Once again, we want to ask ourselves, does this make sense? And you'll remember that in talking about the number line, we said 5/6 was a little bit less than 1. Well, when we are subtracting, we're actually making that number smaller. So when we look at our 1 that we get if we subtract straight across, we know that the 5/6 minus 1/2 cannot equal 1 because it has to be less than 1 if we use our estimation. Once again, always remember to estimate so you can have a good idea of where your answer should be.
Okay, so we are going to use the same problem. So we have 5/6 minus 1/2. Remember, when adding and subtracting, you have to have a common denominator. A common denominator is a number that both 6 and 2 can both go into evenly. First, we want to check and we want to see if 2 can go into 6. In this case, 2 can go into 6 because 2 times 3 equals 6. 6 is going to be our common denominator. Since 5/6 already has a 6 on the bottom, we can leave it the same. The 1/2 needs to have a 6 on the bottom, so we are going to make equivalent fractions. So up above we saw that we can get from 2 to 6 by multiplying by 3. Whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do the same thing to the top. Since the bottom one is 3 times larger, the top one also has to be 3 times larger. We can see here that 1/2 and 3/6 are equivalent fractions. I'm going to replace that 1/2 with 3/6, so we have a common denominator. Okay, from here, I'm just going to subtract my numerators, which are my top numbers. So I have 5/6 minus 3/6, which is going to give us 2/6. We're not finished yet because we need to reduce or simplify. So 2/6 reduces down to 1/3 because 2 and 6 are both divisible by 2.
All right, LHMS, that is our review for subtracting fractions. And you want to remember that there are 3 ways that we talked about. You can model with circles or with squares or rectangles. You can also use number lines, and you can use the algorithm, or in other words, just use the numbers. So make sure that if you have any questions about what you saw here, you write them down and ask your teacher and get things cleared up for you. We'll see you next time.